everybody! This week I created a New Year's Eve look that's very bronzy gold, glittery, kind of glam. I don't really know what I'm going to call this video yet, but you clicked on the video so you know the title. This is very glamorous look, probably more glamorous than I've ever been in my whole life. But it's very festive, and it's not just limited to New Year's Eve. You could wear it at prom or a party or anytime you want to look super glam and glittery and awesome. So thank you for watching, and I'll have another video next week. Bye! Before I get started, I just wanted to give you a quick tip. I actually washed my beauty blender and got it completely clean, or very close to that, just using Bath & Body Works foaming soap. It worked super easy, and I did not expect it to get that clean just using hand soap. For this New Year's Eve look, I want super flawless skin, so I'm starting with the Makeup Forever Smoothing Primer all over my skin, and then I'm applying the Marc Jacobs Full Coverage Foundation Concentrate. I'm just applying a base coat of this. I know it looks like I'm applying a lot on camera, but I promise I'm not. It's just super concentrated and pigmented. And then I'm going in with the Cover FX Natural Finish Foundation in the shade N10. Like the title says, this foundation is a lot more of a natural finish and is a better shade for me, so I put a layer of this on top and blended it out with my Real Techniques beauty sponge. For concealer, as always, I'm using the Urban Decay Naked Skin Weightless Complete Coverage Concealer in the shade Light Neutral, and I'm applying this under my eyes to conceal and highlight, on my eyelids to prime for the eyeshadow that I'm going to use, in between my eyebrows, down the bridge of my nose, around the base of my nose where it can tend to get a little bit red, and on my chin. I like to set my concealer right after I put it on to prevent any creasing, so to do this I'm using the Mercier Translucent Setting Powder. I'm only applying this powder right on top of my concealer because I'm still going to go in with some cream contour, and you never want to put cream on top of powder. That's when you start to look cakey. For my cream contour, I'm using the NYX Correct Conceal Contour Palette in the shade Light. I'm taking the darkest shade from that palette. It's a neutral brown, and I'm carving out my cheekbones, putting a little bit at the tip of my chin to make it look smaller, and then around my hairline on my forehead. This helps make your forehead look smaller, and I have a pretty big forehead, so I like to use this trick. To blend out my cream contour, I'm using that same Real Techniques beauty sponge that I used to apply and blend in my foundation. So on my chin, I'm using a dabbing motion down beneath my jawline. On my forehead, I am blending up into my hairline, and then the trickiest part for most people is the cheeks. So the reason you contour your cheeks is to make your face look slimmer and to lift up your cheekbones. So what you need to remember is to always blend up and back. When you start to blend down, it looks really sloppy. So if you blend toward the top of your ear, you should be okay. To set everything in place, I'm using the Mercier Translucent Setting Powder on a big fluffy powder brush. To bronze my skin up and do some additional contouring, I'm using the bronze shade from the Lorac Pro To Go palette mixed with the eyeshadow in shade 61 by Morphe Cosmetics. This is a neutral brown, and it makes more of a shadow effect, which is better for contouring. I don't know what you want.
Let's have a bit of fun till I downfall. My love, if you feel like I do right now, don't say you're on the run to the other side. My love, you say you wanna try, but you never do. Sugar, there's a reason why we lose.
For blush, I'm using one of my favorite blushes by NYX. It's in the shade Paradise. This is a Mosaic blush, so it actually has multiple colors, and it has some luminosity to it. Not exactly sparkles, but just a nice sheen. And I'm applying this with the Sigma F40 brush.
But you never do. Sugar, there's a reason why we lose.
I use Becca's highlighter in the shade Champagne Pop to highlight with a Morphe 501 brush, and I really went for it on the highlighter. So I applied a heavy amount to the top of my cheekbones. I applied a little bit above the arch of my eyebrow, some down the bridge of my nose and on the tip of my nose, and then with whatever was left on my brush, which was hardly anything, I went on my brow bone, on the inner corners of my eye, and a tiny little bit underneath my eye. There was not really a noticeable difference, but I just wanted to explain what I was doing there. I wanted a super sculpted and perfect looking brow, so I used the Anastasia Dip Brow Pomade in the shade Medium Brown on an Anastasia number 12 brush, and I used this shade just at the tail of my brow and to define the bottom edge of my brow, and then I used the shade Soft Brown, which is a little bit lighter, to fill in the rest of my brow and do the top edge. To start out the eyeshadow, I took shade 13 by Morphe Cosmetics. This is a light brown, and I applied this into my crease using a Sigma F25 brush. This is pretty much my perfect transition shade, and I use it almost every time that I'm doing eyeshadow, and I'm just blending this from inner corner to outer corner, really trying to diffuse it and blend it out the best that I can. For the glitter part of this eyeshadow look, I'm going to start with the Too Faced glitter glue, and I'm just tapping this in a thin layer all over my eyelid, and then I'm going to also tap on MAC glitter in the shade Reflects Bronze, and I'm just using my finger tapping this on. This glue was great. There was virtually no fallout. It stayed on all day, didn't feel tacky or uncomfortable. I was super impressed by it. Now to deepen up the crease, I'm taking shades 62 and 63 by Morphe Cosmetics on a Morphe M431 brush. This is a pencil brush, and I'm applying this right into the crease, trying to get deep in that crease, and I'm applying it in the outer corner, all throughout the crease, and including in the inner corner, and then I'm blending that out with a G18. This is very similar to a pencil brush, but it's just a little bit bigger. For the lower lash line, I'm using the Morphe M431 pencil brush with the shade 62, also by Morphe, and I'm applying this to the outer 2/3 of my lower lash line, and then I'm going to use for the inner 1/3 glitter. So I'm applying some of that Too Faced glitter glue with my finger, and then I'm going to tap on some glitter. I'm also applying this to the inner corner. For eyeliner, I'm using the Stila Stay All Day Waterproof Liquid Eyeliner in black, and I'm just doing a thin line to define my lash line, and then I'm winging it out at the end. Doing a thin line along the lash line will help conceal the false eyelash band that I'm going to use, and it just helps define the lash line, which looks a lot better. Before I apply false eyelashes, I'm going to curl my own lashes and apply the Voluminous Carbon Black Mascara just to make them black and to hold the curl. For falsies, I'm using the House of Lashes Iconic Lash. This is a very dramatic eyelash, and unfortunately the only part of the footage that I actually got was me stretching and bending the band to shape it to my eye. For the lips, I used MAC Lip Liner in the shade Whirl, followed by Kat Von D Everlasting Liquid Lipstick in the shade Double Dare. And that concludes my New Year's Eve makeup tutorial. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope you have a safe and fun New Year. We'll be right back.